share screen, your USD. I believe you can see my screen well now. Yeah. Video panel. Please just give me a feedback if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, it's great.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, guys. Have you started recording too? No, just a minute. Let me just stop the sharing. Just a minute, guys. Alrighty. Alrighty. And the sharing is on once again. Just asking, what can you see on my screen? Just the actual Firefox, so the Explorer, or my whole screen?
Just the Explorer.
The Explorer.
I mean, just the browser, yeah.
Just the browser.
Just the browser, yeah. So you can
Trading
see,
View and Forex Factory.
and if I switch to the, for example, Discord, can you see the Discord, or you still see the?
No, only just the
Trading View.
browser. Just the browser.
Just the browser. All right.
Chart, actually.
Okay, guys. So let me just start recording.
This meeting
The
is
recording
being
on, so
recorded.
welcome everyone, it's Marcel here. Yeah, as I said, this session will be about the top analysis and forecast for the upcoming days and for this day and the upcoming weeks on the higher time frame too. And after the forecast and after the breakdown, I will host a live trading session, which won't be recorded. So only the forecast and the breakdown is being recorded. If we start the live trading session, I will just stop the recording. And I don't know how long will it take to actually, how long will this live trading session will last. I was thinking about maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, but we'll see. I don't want to trade live through the whole session. So let me just see and start with the analysis. Let me just remove all of this crap from my screen and let's see what has happened today. Okay, so first I would like to talk about the higher time frame perspective because it's quite interesting for us. Because, okay, if I zoom out, what can we see on the 4-hour chart? As we know, this was the last recent weekly low, right? This was the last recent weekly low. The price was just reacting on recently right here. And this low is from 2017. Okay, but we talked about this several times. Just a quick note before we start the analysis. If you'd like to ask something, please don't interrupt me. Just raise your hand through Zoom. And if I say that you've been raised your hand, I will ask you to ask your question. And if I'm asking you a question, please just don't talk. Only talk if I'm asking you to talk. So you can raise your hand when I'm asking a question. And if I'm asking you to answer the question, you can answer the question. So please only use your microphone if I'm asking you to use your microphone. That's all I'm asking in this session. So let's just continue. Okay, what can we see on the higher time frame perspective? Here comes the first question. But first, I will tell you something. Price was coming down, creating a bearish structure, right? Creating series of lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So this is the weekly, daily, and the 4-hour structure. This is how the overall higher time frame perspective looks like. Okay, so let's just say this is the last recent daily high. So this was the last recent daily supply zone. Let me just switch to the daily chart. That will be much cleaner. Okay, so this is the last recent daily supply zone. Here, price is reacting on the supply zone. This is the sell to buy candle, as you can see. If you don't know what sell to buy candles are, please just check that webinar. Nothing on screen. You can see my screen. What?
The screen sharing is okay. The problem must be there.
Christian Bagley said that you can't see my screen, but you can see, right? You see that I'm writing Joan down. Screen okay. Okay, so screen is okay. Let's just move on. So here's the daily chart. Here comes the first question. So this was the last recent supply zone that price was reacting on recently. Okay, let's say this is the last recent strong high point. This will be the last recent strong high point. I want you to, if you raise your hand, you can answer this question. I want you to mark the highs and lows out on my screen and just say it if it's a weak high and weak low. Who wants to answer this question? Who wants to do this task? If you raise your hand first, you can answer this question. It was the first raise. It was Michael. So please just draw the weak highs, weak lows, strong highs, strong lows on my screen. Michael? And you can use your microphone too now.
Yes, I'm here. Hold on.
You're echoing. Oh. All right, guys, never mind. Let's just move on. We have to move quickly because the session starts in 10 minutes. Never mind. Let me just remove the drawings and I will explain everything. So no task for this session. We have to move on. Okay, so here's a less recent strong high, right? Because it created a less recent low. Basically, there was a small pullback inside of this movement to the downside, but we can consider this as liquidity building movement and not as an actual pullback or not as an actual structure. We could consider this as liquidity. So this is the less recent high point. This is the less recent low point. This is the next high point. This is the next low point. Now we have to identify that if it's a weak and strong point. And we already know that this is a high point. This is a strong high point because it created a less recent breakout structure, broke below several demand zones here. So it broke below several demand zones, right? Okay, after this, price has reacted on this supply zone, reacted on this overall high point. This was a weekly high point also. So there was a reaction. If there's a reaction and price can break above the less recent strong high point, what will be this low point? How will we call this low point? You can answer this question if you raise your hand. How will we call this low point if it can break above the less recent high point? Come on, guys. Adam?
Weak low.
Exactly, it will be a weak low. This is a weak low because it couldn't break above the less recent strong high point. Okay, after the reaction here, as you can see, price has attempted another break of the weekly low point right here and attempted the break of the less recent week low point, but it has failed to break below again. Here was a demand reaction, price is reacting on this demand zone. So how will we call this high point? What's this high point? Nicholas?
Weak high.
Exactly. This is once again a weak high. And why is it a weak high? Because it couldn't break above the less recent weak point. So it's a weak. It will be weak if it can break a weak. If it's weak if it can break a strong. So this is a less recent strong high point on the daily and the weekly structure. This is weak. This is weak. And it seems like that this will be weak too. Why is it weak? Let me just switch to the 4-hour time frame. It seems like that it will be weak too, because price is just reacting on the less recent 4-hour supply zone. So it has built up liquidity, or it's not even the less recent. There were decisional supply zones, but this is the less recent valuable supply zone for us because it has flipped some kind of demand zone right here at this region, created huge inefficient movement, flipped overall demand zones, changed character on strong points. So this will be a valuable supply zone for us. There's liquidity for this supply zone too, and seems like the price is reacting on this supply zone. And if it's reacting on this supply zone, the less recent valuable decisional supply zone, then this low point will be weak too. Okay, but this is the higher time frame perspective, right? So this is the strong high point, weak low, weak high. Seems like this will be a weak low too because it couldn't break above the less recent decisional zone, not the high point. So it didn't break below above the less recent decisional, didn't break above the less recent high point. Seems like it will be weak. This will be weak. We have another chance. We will have another chance for the second attempt of the break of the supply zone and the deeper mitigation of the supply zone. So let's see the 4-hour perspective. How will the 4-hour look like for us? So price has changed character here to the upside after creating a less recent breakout structure here, built up a bullish structure. As you can see, this was the less recent breakout structure to the upside. Here was a change of character, breakout structure, and after this, price has just built up a bullish structure, right? But the range is still there. The 4-hour range is still there. This is the less recent low point. This is the less recent high point, and price is just ranging between the less recent low and high point. The only difference is that price has tapped the 4-hour supply zone and gave a strong reaction. Okay, so at this region, price has built up a strong bullish structure following after the supply zone. We were expecting the supply to be, we were expecting a reaction on this supply, and we were expecting a reversal. This tap and reaction and reversal and confirmation, etc., has perfectly happened, and price has just started to continue the way down to this demand zone. So how will the 4-hour how is the 4-hour expectation order flow look like for us? Price has mitigated the supply zone, right? Perfect supply mitigation, perfect liquidity sweep, perfect strong reaction. There was a reaction, as you can see. Here was a 15-minute change of character somewhere around here, or 5-minute change of character reaction, and immediate reversal to the downside. Strong recovery with inefficiency, and this has caused a change of character on the 4-hour chart too, here and here. So strong change of character has happened on the 4-hour chart, but this is just sub change of character, right? Why is it sub change of character? Because basically this isn't a real low point, because this is still the less high point, and this low point couldn't body break above the less recent high point, as you can see. So basically this is just sub change of character to the downside, and that's why we can expect the tap of this demand zone down here. If this demand zone will be tapped, this is the expectation order flow. This is how the expectation order flow looks like on the higher time frame, that we are expecting a tap of this, expecting the mitigation of this demand zone. After a mitigation, we can expect either the reversal right here, 15-minute reversal, and deeper supply mitigation, or even the mitigation of the extreme zone up here, or the break of this demand zone. And if the break of this demand zone happens, then we'll see the break of the less recent weekly low point from 2017. And this is for sure. If this scenario happens, so if this demand zone breaks, we'll see the break of this low point. That's 100% sure. I'm really sure of this, because prices even created liquidity inside of this zone. As you can see, here's perfect double bottoms, all lining up for the upcoming shorts. And currently, euro is dying compared to the US dollar. It's literally dying. Just taking a look at the financial system and the economic system, it's literally dying against the US dollar. And yeah, I'm expecting the break of this demand zone. I'm expecting the break of this weekly low point. And we'll see literal hell. We will see euro dying. So yeah, this is how the higher time frame perspective looks like. So what can we see right here? We have a demand supply zone. Sorry, we have a 4-hour supply zone. We have a 4-hour perfect supply zone that has caused this sub change of characters to the downside. Even though this is a sub change of character here and here, this is a real change of character on the 15-minute chart. Why? Because the 15-minute structure at this lag doesn't look like this. So the 15-minute won't have a low point and a high point. Inside of this movement, we will have several lows and highs at this huge movement. So the 15-minute structure has already changed several times. So at this movement, as you can see, prices. So this movement is this movement. Just remember. So at this movement, at this downside movement, prices changed character several times to the downside already. There was a demand reaction somewhere around here. Price created change of characters to the upside again on several places, and price has just basically doing this for a month. And at this region, price is just creating this kind of structure for almost a month. So yeah, that's why we can call it a change of character on a 15-minute time frame right here and here, because there were several change of characters, real change of characters on the 15-minute time frame. But on the 4-hour chart, this is just sub change of character, not a real change of character. Okay, but we still have this zone. We will refine this on the 15-minute chart, because on the 15-minute chart, more likely there will be an extreme zone that has caused the change of character on several places, and we will refine it. So what can we expect from Euro USD right now? We have 2 more options for the higher time frame. So the first one, as you can see, I will just mark it here. We have huge liquidity line right here, or we can even call it this as liquidity. We have liquidity, but I will just mark it the way it is right here. This is the last recent low point. This is liquidity. So expectation order for movements. I have to be quick because session starts in 2 minutes. So price will come up, create a pullback somewhere around here at this demand reaction. We'll create a pullback up to the supply zone, create a 15-minute change of character at this 4-hour zone, or even a 1-minute change of character, because technically this is just a 15-minute zone and not a 4-hour zone. So create a change of character. I will aim for a 5-minute change of character. That will be enough for this zone. So 5-minute change of character, 1-minute change of character, cancellation down to this demand zone. Second, break of this supply zone. Sorry, no, not like this. Break of this supply zone, higher mitigation at this demand zone. Supply zone, 50% mitigation, and after a 50% mitigation, 15-minute change of character, cancellation down to this demand zone. Third option, mitigation, break of both of these zones, cancellation up to the higher supply zone. This has the least probability. So this is the least probable scenario. I'm not expecting the break of these supply zones. I'm not expecting the cancellation to the upside. I'm expecting the break of these demand zones. So fourth scenario, price will just reverse to the downside without tapping into supply zone, reverse down to this demand zone, speed liquidity, create a reaction, create a confirmation, cancellation up to the upside. First target will be this supply zone. After the supply is being hit, we will aim for the next scenarios that I just explained on this supply zone. Fifth scenario, break of this demand zone. After this demand is being broken, we can aim for the weekly low break. So we will be able to aim for this low point, or we can aim for the liquidity line right here. So these are the high probability scenarios on the 4-hour chart, or not the high probability scenarios, the possible scenarios that could happen at this price action region. All we have to do is wait for these scenarios on the higher time frame. Okay, 50-minute. Let me just switch to the 50-minute real quick because the session is already opened. And let's just see if there was any reaction at this point. Yeah, actually there was a demand reaction. Here's this extreme demand zone that has caused the change of character to the upside. Let me just extend this zone. Perfect. Demand. Okay. So here was this demand zone that has caused the change of character to the upside here, as you can see, after mitigating the 4-hour zone. So basically, this is the origin of the whole order flow, and the 50% has not been mitigated yet. So if the 50% is not being mitigated, then we can always expect a 50% mitigation. As you can see, price just created liquidity inside of this zone. First bottom of the liquidity, second bottom of the liquidity, third bottom, fourth bottom, fifth bottom. So it's a liquidity trend line built up for this supply, demand zone, the 50% demand zone, right? And why is it the right demand zone? Because this was a 4-hour zone right here. Let me just zoom it out. This was a 4-hour zone right here that has caused this movement to the upside. Price has mitigated this 4-hour zone. Here was the last recent structural high point, 50% mitigation on the 4-hour zone. And from this demand zone, it has been changed. This high point has been changed with inefficient movement, as you can see with wick. And after this, price didn't mitigate the 50%. So we can always expect a 50% mitigation, which has happened right here. After a 50% mitigation, price has just reversed, right? Perfect reversal. So reversal has happened to the upside, and price is coming down in a bearish structure. Sorry for my small screen, but I'm not on my main screen. But never mind, I just continue. Price was coming down, right? Creating this 4-hour supply zone. So basically, this was the 4-hour supply zone that has caused the 50-minute change of character in several places, as you can see. So probable scenarios on the 50-minute chart. What can we see? This is the 4-hour supply zone that has caused the 4-hour movement to the downside. There was the extreme reaction on this demand zone. Since price is reacting on this demand zone, we can assume that this demand will be in control, and we can expect the order flow up to this supply zone. Okay, what else can we see? That after a reaction on this demand zone, price has changed character here to the upside, once again with inefficient pressure, right? And here was a strong change of character also. I will mark just the strong change of character because I'm always marking the last piece of change of character to the upside, strong change of character. Okay, so here was a strong change of character to the upside, and even liquidity creation here. So we have liquidity, right? First tap, second tap, third tap, perfect liquidity built up for the upcoming longs. This liquidity has been built up for the longs. Okay, what can we see? We can see that this demand zone has caused the change of character to the upside, and we have perfect liquidity line just above it, right? So this is liquidity built up for the demand zone. I won't mark it here because we already know that there's liquidity. And this liquidity has been built up for the demand zone, this character changing demand zone. This is our extreme zone. What else can we see? Can we see another demand zone? This has been mitigated more than the 50%. This has caused this change of character with inefficiency, break of structure with inefficiency. No, this has been mitigated. This demand zone has been mitigated. Let's see if the 50% has been mitigated. Yeah, the 50% has been mitigated of this demand zone. This has caused the next recent break of structure here. Even this has been mitigated. And we could say that price has changed character here to the downside. Okay, let's just see. On the 5-minute chart, this will be a clear change of character to the downside. This was the last recent demand zone that has pushed price to the upside. Here, as you can see with this candle, body closure to the